there's just so much I've learned based on the relationship between mathematics and this subject matter as well, you know? And that's not something that could ever be put out there because most PhDs in mathematics are racialized white men,
Mm,
almost exclusively. And so, like,
yeah,
there's like 2% of less than 2% of black PhDs in math. I've been looking at PhD programs, obviously, and
oh nice.
trying to find my way for some time. I've talked to many elite PhDs from Harvard and Princeton and Yale and all the places, just randomly, mind you,
Yeah,
because just
yeah,
like clinical psychologists recognize each other from across the room, mathematicians do as well. I was
for
actually at a
sure.
wedding. Funny story, real quick, and this guy comes up. He's like, "Oh, what do you do?" I was like, "Oh, like I went to law school with the groom." And so I was like, "Oh, I went to law school with the groom," and he was like, "Oh, well, another lawyer." I was like, "Actually, like I teach math. That's like what I do." He was like, "Oh, you do math?" Like his whole demeanor changed, and we had this whole. He was actually working on neural networks, and he was a PhD in math, like running a team, like working on neural networks. And so we had like the most
Nice.
amazing conversation about like the math, and he like asked me to run his entire team, and like it was wild, bro. I have all of these kinds of conversations out in the wild, but my point all in all of that is that like even the barriers that race has created within academia, you know,
Mm,
that there are so few people who would be interested in allowing such a study, that the United States government is limiting such a study, you know,
mm,
like I mean, I have to just basically either independently devote my entire self to that, right? Like without the resources of like a university or like the collaboration that like that a program like that would allow for,
mm-hmm.
or just put it on the back burner. And that's what I've been doing for a long time, is putting a lot of things on the back burner. So for me,
Sure.
the fact that we're talking about it more is like a relief. It's almost like
Oh, cool.
a pressure cap has been open.
I can't imagine what it would be like to have thought about this for so long and then for people to have like simple potted answers and not curiosity, you know? Right? Like I bet you've had this experience because I haven't, full disclosure, I haven't really watched any of these. So like imagine that someone has come at you with this standard, like, well, if we keep talking about race, it keeps it real. It instantiates race over and over and over again. And I'm sure you have dozens of things to say about that, but I bet you've gotten these potted responses from people. And I just don't give a shit about those potted responses. I'm very interested in what you know, because there's trillions of things I do not know, especially when it comes to this topic. And so I've lived in this little bubble of clinical psychology, and that's been my life essentially. And so it's kind of insane that people, especially culture warriors, they pretend to know things. They pretend to have like an answer to shit. I'm just like, how can you like I've been practicing in the field of like addiction treatment for like 13 years, and people would be tempted to say they're experts because like a decade's a pretty good chunk of time to really like know a problem and work with it. But like I'm not an expert. Like there's so much shit to learn.
The more you
And
know, the
so
more you know you don't know.
the less you don't know. Yeah, exactly. And that's how I feel. And that's why I love teaching too, because like I have to learn shit. Like a student's going to come at me with something I've not read and be like, oh, fuck, like that's what I look forward to. And so it's kind of insane that people, I'm sure you've got dozens of stories of people coming at you with like, well, but what about the fact that it reinstantiates race or some shit like that? You know what I mean? Like, do you have a good one of those stories?
Oh man. So yeah. I mean, I've had Dr. Sheena Mason on. We had a
Oh
conversation. We
yeah,
had a conversation
yeah,
about that.
yeah.
Angel Eduardo, we've talked about it. I've
Uh,
talked with
Angel. Yeah.
let's see who else. I talked to what's his name? Musicality guy. He's got like a music podcast. Chris Muntz on Twitter. I don't know if you know him.
Oh yeah, I know
That
who he
came up
is. Yeah,
with
yeah.
him. It came up with Drew Perkins, I believe. Like there's like a lot of people on Twitter. It's mostly people from social media who I ended up inviting on the show. To be honest, like in the
Sure.
wild, when I have these conversations, like it doesn't really come up. Like I feel like
Yeah.
it's very interesting. Like I don't know what the deal is with that actually, but like when I talk to people in person, I don't know. I just feel like the conversations that happen in person, like I can literally use our environment to make my point. Like, because we're living this. We are living in a
Yeah.
racialized world and environment. A lot of people don't
Yeah.
think about it, but I've thought about
Yeah.
it a lot. I don't have to think about it that hard to know what's going on racially around me. And so, like,
Mm.
I can easily bring things to people's attention to get them thinking about the world around them. And that's really what, like, what I kind of do.